Hey, how's it going, fam? Welcome to today's episode of Tuesday Seeds. Our topic will be on some of the things you'll want to consider when utilizing manure in your veggie garden. So please stay tuned. For you as a farmer, raw manure can be the most accessible, affordable, and natural fertilizer available. However, based on our management out in our gardens, raw manure of all types can pose a risk to the safety of your fresh produce. So here's what I'm getting at. It's that fresh manure, although we know all the great benefits it has, it can also contain harmful pathogens. And once these pathogens are in your soil, it can be spread to other nearby fruits and vegetables that you planted. A few of the most recognizable names among these bad guy pathogens include Listeria, E. coli, and Salmonella. And once contaminated produce is consumed by a person, that person can become ill, they can experience kidney failure, and in some of the more extreme cases, they can die. So, needless to say, as producers, it's crucially important that we apply, that you and I, some best practices to minimize risks associated with these harmful pathogens. For starters, make sure fresh manure or any manure-based compost that you might be using in your garden is applied at least 90 to 120 days before harvesting any vegetables, especially if the produce will be eaten raw at some point. You do not want to assume the pathogens will be washed off. All right, so let's say that you want to give your recently planted veggies some type of fertilizer as it grows. What you're not going to want to do is reach for that fresh bucket of manure. So a good option in this situation, if manure is your go-to for high nitrogen as you're trying to grow your plant, is to use pre-made compost that has been heated properly in a process called thermal composting. In short, thermal composting mixes your manure with other materials like dried leaves, mulch, and greenery, and the heated temps are at about right between 131 and 150 for several days, and then you turn several times. I think there are some food safety guidelines that require, I think, up to 5 turns, but I'm not sure if that only applies to organic or not, but I'll look that up for y'all. Point is, because the heating process kills the bad guy pathogens, but promotes the good guy microbials that are in the soil, it still allows you all the benefits of feeding your plant the high nitrogen that you were trying to do through raw manure. And as an added bonus, this heating process also stops seeds from germinating in your veggie garden, which can become a problem sometimes or a drawback when using fresh manure, especially from larger livestock. So we're now at about day 12. It's been about 72 hours, about 3 days or so since we've last made our third turn, which is typically our final turn. However, when I look at the thermometer reading, we're still right at about 135 here. It started at about 148, went down to about 144, and then 137 on yesterday's reading. So because we're still above 130, the 131 threshold, we want to make sure we're consuming all the nitrogen in this pile. So we're going to turn it a fourth time. Even though if we didn't turn it, it probably would just actually compost itself and keep going lower and lower below the threshold. But we're going to turn it one more time just to make sure that we're getting and consuming all the nitrogen in this pile. All right, y'all, that does it for this segment of Tuesday Seeds. Hopefully what we shared was very insightful. And until next time, be the exception.